The evening began as an unremarkable, tranquil night. My parents had left for a dinner party, and I was left in charge of the house. I had relished the idea of an evening to myself, popcorn, a blanket, and my favorite horror movie queued up on the TV. The wind outside howled gently through the trees, rattling the window panes at irregular intervals. To me, the setting felt perfectly atmospheric, a balance of eerie ambiance and comforting solitude. But by 10 p.m., that balance shattered. A faint noise broke through the background hum of the TV, a distant rustling, barely audible, like someone brushing against the backyard fence. I paused the movie and sat still, straining to hear over the sound of the wind. The noise dissipated as quickly as it had come. My rational mind reasoned it was a stray cat or a branch scraping against the wooden fence, and I resumed watching. But the next noise was louder. A heavy thud reverberated through the house, originating from the back door. I jolted upright, knocking over the popcorn bowl in the process. My heart raced as I muted the TV and listened again. For a moment, the only sound was the refrigerator's gentle hum, but then another thud followed. This one was closer, more deliberate. I tiptoed toward the kitchen, flipping the light switch as I entered. The room was unnervingly still. The windows reflected my silhouette against the darkness outside. Peeking through the window above the sink, I saw nothing, just the backyard swaying under the wind's breath. The shadows of the trees danced across the grass like specters performing a silent ritual. Double-checking the lock on the back door, I retreated slowly, hoping that would be the last noise of the night. But by 10:30, the sounds intensified. Rhythmic taps against the windows, faint footsteps on the wooden deck, and the rustling of leaves as if someone were circling the house. Each creak of the floorboards beneath me felt amplified, a reminder of how exposed I was. I locked the front door again, clutching my phone as I scrolled through my contacts. My fingers trembled, hovering over my parents' number, but before I could press it, movement outside caught my eye. Multiple figures stood just beyond the deck. I stumbled back, nearly knocking over a chair. Through the sliding glass door, I saw them. Several people, cloaked in long black robes that billowed softly in the wind. Their faces were obscured by deep hoods, rendering them featureless. They stood perfectly still, like statues, their presence both ominous and surreal. My mind raced through possibilities. Were they thieves? A cult? My breath hitched as I tried to dial my parents, but the call went straight to voicemail. I didn't want to call the police yet. What if it was a prank by neighborhood kids? My rational side fought against the wave of panic washing over me. I crouched behind the couch, peering over its edge to monitor the figures. They hadn't moved. Their motionlessness unnerved me more than if they had been pacing or knocking. It felt intentional, like they were waiting for something or someone. Then, one of them stepped forward. I pressed a hand over my mouth to suppress the scream clawing its way up my throat. The figure's movement was slow and deliberate, its footsteps muffled by the wind. Another figure followed, and they both stopped near the edge of the deck facing the house. I couldn't wait any longer. I called the police, my voice barely a whisper as I described the figures outside. "There are people in my backyard," I said, my voice shaking. "I'm alone and I'm scared." "Stay calm," the operator responded. "Officers are on their way. Stay on the line with me." I crawled toward my bedroom, keeping low to the floor. The figures remained in place, their cloaks swaying slightly. I shut my bedroom door and locked it, huddling in the corner with the phone pressed tightly to my ear. "They're getting closer," I whispered, my breath coming in ragged gasps. "Stay hidden. Don't make a sound," the operator instructed. I held the phone with a death grip, every muscle in my body tense. The minutes stretched into what felt like hours. My pulse was so loud in my ears that I feared it would betray me. I heard a soft knock against the glass door, just one tap, and then silence. The silence was worse than the noise. I tightened my grip on the phone, my knuckles turning white. I listened intently for any sign of movement, any indication that they had entered the house. The creaks of the old floorboards beneath me felt deafening, as though my own home was conspiring against me. Then came a new sound, a faint voice. It wasn't a creak or a knock, but a murmur carried by the wind. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was rhythmic, almost like chanting.